Amongst us, Professor Dr. Usha Ishwaran. I humbly request our Vice Chancellor to welcome our chief guest with a bouquet.
I call upon Dr. Prakash, Associate Professor, Department of English.
I deem it a great privilege to introduce our chief guest, Professor Dr. Usha Ishwaran, a versatile personality who has reached the summit of glory by proving her mettle in various fields. Dr. Usha Ishwaran is a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, academician, educationalist, life skill coach, and career guidance analyst. She is the CEO of a Seeking organization for skill development, career development guidance, and academic consultancy. She wants to enhance the employability of the youth of our nation in line with the Prime Minister's vision. Dr. Usha is an alumnus of Annamalai and Andhra University with a bachelor's and master's degrees in electronics and instrumentation engineering. She was awarded her doctorate by Jawaharlal Technological University, Hyderabad for her pioneering work on biosensors in the year 2011. She has over 30 years of experience in the field of education and industry. Key responsibilities held in engineering institutions are principal, a director, dean, and placement officer. She is a chartered engineer, a fellow institutions of Engineers India, and fellow Indian Society for Technical Education, ISEC, IEEE, a member in addition to being a member of the editorial team of over 10 international technical journals. She has to her credit over 40 technical publications in various international, national technical journals and has participated and presented papers in multiple technical conferences in China, Malaysia, France, USA, and the Philippines, in addition to those in India. Her experience in technical education has been recognized through her nomination to the advisory boards of various technical institutes of higher learning. She is currently a member of Planning Board of Thiruvallur University, Vellore, having been nominated by the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu for 3 years. She has successfully conducted skill enhancement programs for large government organizations like the Income Tax Staff Training College, Railway Protection Force, railways at pan-India level. She has trained and assisted in the placement of over 10,000 students. She has conducted a stress-relieving life skills workshop for more than 1 lakh people. Her workshops on career guidance, art of parenting, faculty development programs, gender sensitization, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking have been well received. She is an active YouTuber with over 750 videos on these topics. She is passionate about supporting social causes and is also the Pink Ambassador for NGO Chennai Turns Pink, promoting awareness on breast cancer and women-centric issues. Dr. Usha Ishwaran is volunteering as Peace Ambassador in India for the cause of peace and development in partnership with the Refugee International Network for Peace, Tanzania, East Africa, to provide peace advocate and intervene peace to save lives and promote development for life change. Academic achievements. Her academic achievements include assisting institutes in ISO, NBA, and AICTE accreditations through constant monitoring and effective maintenance of documents and records. As head of technical institutes, she has streamlined the placement cell activity and created data banks of students and companies as sources for future reference. She has headed the team for continual assessment program for autonomous colleges affiliated to Visvesvaraya Technological University, Bangalore. Awards and accolades. The list of awards to her credit is a long one, out of which the important ones are: Dr. Usha Ishwaran has been bestowed with the coveted Rex Karmavir Global Fellowship and Karmavir Chakra Award instituted by ICONGO, and the United Nations. This award is in recognition of her consistent and dedicated service to the society. She has got a Lifetime Achiever Award, LinkedIn Wonder Woman Award, Peace Ambassador in India Award, Goodwill Ambassador, Excellent Professional Motivation Speaker and Dedicated Academician Award, Innovative Technologist and Dedicated Technological Best Professor in Electrical and Electronics Communication Engineering Award, Innovative Dedicated Technological Chairperson Award, Excellent Professional Achievement Award, Outstanding Contribution in the Field of Education Award, Woman of Humanity Award, Best Teacher Administrator Award, Best Educationist Award, and Certificate of Education Excellence Award, Outstanding Academic Contributions in the Field of Science and Technology Award. Thank you all. Now I invite our elite chief guest to address the audience. Thank you.
అందరికీ నమస్కారము. ఇలా చెప్తే కదా మీరందరూ ఆనందిస్తారు. కానీ స్పీచ్ మొత్తం ఇంగ్లీష్లో ఉంటుంది. తెలుగు అంత ఫ్లూయెంట్గా నాకు రాదు, కానీ మధ్య మధ్యలో కొంచెం తెలుగు మాటలు కూడా వస్తుంది. So very good afternoon to one and all present here. It's a very, very happy moment for me to stand before you. And respected dignitaries on the dais and the off the dais, and all the students who have chosen Vailtech for their future education and career. You have done a wonderful job in choosing this wonderful institute, as it has been headed by such a wonderful person. He is like my godfather. The Vice Chancellor has been a wonderful person, knowledge-wise and human-wise too. And you have chosen a right institution where you will be getting a wonderful quality education with a lot of research activities, and all the people who are working here, the professors, the deans, the teachers, and all those people are well versed and highly educated and highly knowledgeable. And once again, I would like to congratulate the parents as well as the students for choosing this esteemed institution for your future education and career. So let me start my speech by asking you a simple question: who are you? When this question is asked to different type of people at different age groups, you know, a different type of answers come out. If somebody asked me, who are you? How would you introduce yourself when I was in the age of 4? My parents would have taught me only my name that time. So I will just say that I'm Usha. And when I enter into the school, my teacher will add on some hobbies along with my name. And I may say, I'm Usha, I like to dance. But once I complete my education and I get into a job, I have some profession. So I will just drop down my hobby and add on all my achievements and all my credentials, which all I have. And I will say, I'm Dr. Usha Ishwaran, I'm a doctorate, and I have a company named Seek, and I'm running it successfully. This is how I will introduce myself. But all these things are wrong answers. These are not the answers for the question, who are you? So what does it matter? How do you introduce yourself? However you decorate your resume, you improve your introduction, you make it so fancy, they are not going to give you or define you as a person. You will not be defined by your resume. Then how you will be defined by? You will be defined by your character. Every person will be defined by a character. Then how the character is shaped? Is the character shaped with the work what we do, or the education what we have, or the degrees what we carry, or the money what we have, or what the houses we have, the pride, the position? All those things does not matter. The character is shaped by the values you hold. The character is shaped by the values you hold. Many of us are not aware of the meaning of values and principles. Really, we are not knowing the meaning of values and principles. Every individual will have a different value, because value is nothing but fundamentally the beliefs, the thoughts, the words, the actions. That is what is value. What you believe, that is your value. What he believes, that is his value. And value is based on what you think is very important in your life. Value is nothing but what you think is more important in your life, because every one of us will have something or the other important in our life. It need not be the same. If you ask me what are my values, I may say that first and foremost important value of mine or the belief of mine or what I need to achieve is how I can connect with the nature, how I can connect with the Almighty, the supreme power. The second one may be how I can develop the relationship with my relatives, my mother, my father, my children, my husband, and all those true friends who are around me. The third thing may be how I can improve my health, how I can take care of my health. And fourth thing may be how I can improve my knowledge, how I can improve my knowledge each and every day. And fifth one may be how I can be useful for the society. Maybe I can have these 5 points as most important thing in my life. Similarly, as students, you will have several things which are important to you in your life. And out of all those important things, you should have the first and foremost priority of respecting your parents, all the human being, not only elders. Every human should be respected, and your teachers. That should be the most important thing in your life. And the second most important thing will be gaining knowledge. How am I going to gain knowledge? How I can be called as an educated person? An educated person cannot be defined with his degrees or the certificates what you carry from the institute. You need to add the values to your degrees. You need to add that weight of values, because the resume is only a very small part in your life. The majority of it is covered by the values you hold. I can just give you one example from Mahabharata, Duryodhan and Yudhishthir. So when you talk about Duryodhan, what are his value systems? For him, what is more important? He want the kingdom. Irrespective of how he behaves with his brothers, it doesn't matter even if they are killed. It doesn't matter whomever get killed, he want the kingdom. That was his value system. Because of it, that what happened? He failed in everything. Whereas Yudhishthir, he had a different value system. His most important thing in life was relationships. He valued relationships. He respected people. So that is how the value system differs from one person to the other. Then what is principle? Principle is an external factor which is common throughout the world. If your values are going to align with the principle, then we can call you that you're living a principle-centered life. So that is what is important, my dear students. Concentrate on what is important for you in life. Because Gandhiji has told, your beliefs brings your thoughts, and your thoughts brings your words. Your words become your actions, and your actions becomes your habit, and your habit becomes your value. And value decides your destiny. So everything starts from your belief. If you think that, yes, I wanted to study here, I wanted to get educated, I wanted to get my degree, I wanted to get my job, everything is fine. How you are going to get that? That is what depends upon the value what you hold, the belief what you hold. If you feel that you can choose a shortcut, if tomorrow you have an exam and you think that you can study overnight and you can write an exam, that is one way of belief. A person believes that that is enough to get a degree. But another person thinks, no, it is not for writing exam I'm getting educated. I'm not studying for the sake of marks. I'm studying to improve my knowledge. I'm studying to learn. I'm studying to apply my knowledge in my job. So that is where the belief varies, and the belief varies and the value also varies. So my dear students, keep your mind strong that you need to have a value aligned with the principle. It should always have a principle-centered life, which is what defines you as a person. Because in life, we take a lot of decisions. Every moment will be a decision-making moment. How we take decisions? The decisions are based on your beliefs. Suppose one person comes and tell me, imagine that I'm manufacturing something. They come and tell me, ma'am, if you give me some low quality good, you put some low quality material and produce this, and you will get 3 crore benefit. Just a small variation in the material, a substandard material if you use, you will be able to get 3 crore benefit. It's a tough decision. It's a tough decision. In this materialistic world, 3 crore is a huge money for me. But if I have integrity, if I follow the principle of integrity, 3 crore will look somewhere here, and cheating someone will become big for me. I don't want to cheat anyone to earn such a huge amount. That is what my mind will say, because I believe that, and that is my value system. So this is how you have to have a strong, clear values in your mind, because many such decisions will come into your life. Taking decisions depends upon your beliefs. If somebody is smoking, somebody is drinking strongly, they believe that that is good for them. If somebody does not want to drink, even in the middle of people, everybody is drinking, all his friends are drinking, he will not drink because his belief system says that he should not drink. One cannot go and change someone else's mind because he acts according to his belief. So every one of us have to keep in mind that the belief, the thoughts, the words, the actions, the values should be aligned with the principles. That is the first message which I would like to tell you, because that is very, very important as a human being, because that is what characterizes you. Let me take one principle and explain, because if you follow that principle, then all other things will fall in line. That principle is nothing but integrity. People feel that they talk about practice principle. You cannot practice principle. Practicing principle is not possible, because principle is a noun. It is not a verb. It is not an activity. Value is an activity. If you follow integrity, then you do right thing, you can say that you are following the principle of integrity. So there was a Buddhist temple, and there was a Buddhist monk who was teaching for people who would like to learn about Buddhism. One day he wanted to teach them the real meaning of integrity. So he calls for the student and he says, see, I am becoming old. I will not be able to earn anymore. I will not be able to run this school. So I want you people to do something which I would like to instruct you. I have not taught you to earn money, but I will tell you one trick with which we can make money. All the students were very eager to know what it is. Then the monk said, see, this city has so many wealthy people. They all have a lot of money. You just go behind them in the rush streets and steal money from them when nobody is looking at you. The students were shocked. They said, like, what is this? Teacher has taught us he should not look for others' property, and he is asking us to steal? He said again, remember, you should take the money when nobody is watching you. Then all the students went. The teacher came back to the temple. He saw one student standing in the corner of the temple. He asked, why? You don't want to improve this? You don't want to get money for this temple? Then the boy said, sir, I do want to, but you have laid one condition which is not possible, sir. What is that condition? You said we should steal when no one is watching. But whatever I do, I will be watching, sir. Whatever I do, all my actions will be watched by me. Then how can I escape from that? How can I follow your instruction? The monk was very happy, extremely happy. At least one boy understood what is the meaning of integrity. He called all the other students and said, see, what you do in public does not matter. You, as a person, as a character, as a man of value, as a man of following principles, is determined when you are in private. When you are not seen by anyone, how you behave is what you are. That is what is integrity. So we cannot go behind anyone checking whether they are good or bad as parents. What we can teach them to be following integrity wherever they are, for which first we should stand as an example. As parents, we need to stand as an example. So one who learns integrity and practices integrity is master of all the principles. He will have values which will have principle-centered one and the values aligned with the principles. And I would like to tell you 5 most important qualities of a student. First one, you should have the effort of a crow. Every student should practice to have an effort of a crow. I'm going to tell you a very old story. See, believe me, all our ancestors have told many bedtime stories. All our grandmas have told so many stories. But we feel, oh my God, old story. But you have so many things to learn from that. One crow, which was wandering for water because of severe thirst. You all know that story. So it comes to one place, it could see one pitcher. And it was able to see the pitcher that the water was there but lying in the bottom of the pitcher. Then the crow was trying to put inside his beak to drink that water and it was not able to reach the water. So what it tries is, it was trying to tilt the pitcher so that it will get some water, but it was not able to get the water. Then what it did, it was seeing around. What is there here? What is there? It was seeing around and it found some pebbles. Then it got one idea and took pebble by pebble and dropped into the pitcher. And because of that, the water came up and it drank the water and went. So what do we learn from this? A lot of things. A lot of things we learn from this. First is the goal. The goal of the crow is to drink water only from that pitcher. It does not want to leave that and go somewhere else and search for it. It has it there and it wanted to drink that water. That is its goal. And it was trying, it was putting effort to drink that water, the effort. It was not able to get it because it tried different tactics. It tried to put his beak and it tried to tilt the pitcher. Both did not work. Then what did it do? It did not fly away. It looked for opportunities. It looked for opportunities. It saw the pebble. It took the pebble one and dropped into the pitcher. The water was not coming high. Again, another pebble. It did not come high. Did it fly away? No. It continuously tried, the perseverance. It tried again and again and again, and the water came up. The goal was not changed, the focus was not changed, the effort was there for the crow, the perseverance was there for the crow, the patience was there for the crow, and finally it got what it wanted. So that is what, my dear students, if you fix your goal, don't change your goal. Change your tactics, but don't ever change your goal, and see that you need to have a lot of patience, lot of effort, and look for opportunities. Lot of opportunities are there where you need to look into opportunities and see how you can get those opportunities to succeed in your goal. And the second most important thing is intense focus of a crane. We all have seen the crane in the water. It used to stand in the water with the one leg looking for big fishes to come. It will have a lot of small fishes going, but it will not get attracted with the small fishes. It will wait for the big fish to come. If it gets satisfied with the small fishes, it will not be able to eat the big fish. Same thing happens in our life also. You all have come with a goal of educating yourself. You have come here to improve your knowledge. You wanted to come out as successful engineers. That is your goal, big goal. But what happens in between? You get distracted with a lot of small things. You get distracted with a lot of small things which are not important for your life. So when you get distracted, what happens? Your focus also gets diluted. You will not be able to achieve your goal. So you need to have an intense focus like a crane. And focus is not only the ability to say yes to one thing, but also a discipline to say no to the other. That discipline you should have. I don't want this. This is not the time for watching movies. This is not the time for chatting with somebody. This is not the time for spending unwanted things. This is the time to improve my knowledge. This is the time to study. This is the time where I can become a good human being. I have a lot of things to learn. I need to concentrate on those things. Focus. Focus is not only the ability to say yes to one thing, but also the discipline to say no to the other. Develop that discipline and self-control. And then comes the alertness of the dog. We all have seen the dog when it is sleeping in the night. You would have seen in many cinemas also, movies also, they will show a small sound will alert the dog. Immediately it will get up. That alertness you cannot see anywhere. You need to have that alertness. Why? So many things are happening around. You just get involved yourself in the mobile phones, get attached to the social media, get attached to the Instagram, Facebook, posting your pictures, listening to YouTube gossips. What happens? You will not know what is good thing happening around. You will not be able to be alert to catch the new developments that are coming in your technology. A lot of new things that is coming in. So have the alertness of a dog. And the input to your senses. The very important thing, input to your senses. What are all the senses we have? Suppose if I take my tongue, whatever we feel like eating, we will eat. Irrespective of whether it is enough, sufficient or overloaded, we don't bother. If you like some fast food, order and eat. Any input, any food you give to your senses, right from your tongue, your ears, your eyes, should be limited and filtered. Eat what is required. Similarly, you will be seeing a lot of things in around the world. You will see a lot of images, a lot of people fighting, a lot of TV serials or the YouTube channels. You will be seeing some films. A lot of unwanted things you will be seeing. If you start grabbing everything and putting into your brain, and here whatever comes, every day morning you switch on the YouTube channel and see what gossip has come. Who is going to participate in the Big Boss? Which actress is going to make something? Which cricket player is talking what? So we are interested in something which is not the major things in our life. So, but they all come inside as the inputs to our senses. They get stored in our brain. What happens then? It creates an indelible mark in your brain. It creates a mark in your brain which cannot be erased. And it stores the majority of the space of your brain, where when you come to class, you will not have space in your brain to store the most important things that are required for you. So you need to limit the inputs, what you give to your senses. And the fifth one is very, very important. That is coming out of your comfort zone. How many of you wanted to come out of your comfort zone? The name itself says that it is a comfort zone. You're so happy now that too in the COVID lockdown, you'll be lying on the bed and calling your mom, "Mom, switch on the fan. Mom, switch on the TV. Give me the remote. Give me the food here." You will be sitting in your place and doing everything. That is your comfort zone. If you are going to sit in your comfort zone without stepping out of your comfort zone, you will not be able to take any challenges and you will not be able to take any opportunities and you cannot succeed in your life. Every day you need to expand your comfort zone. Initially it will be difficult, but still you need to try coming out of the comfort zone and expanding your radius or the diameter of your comfort zone. There was a king. He was very fond of hawks. So some city men gifted him 2 hawks, beautiful hawks. The king was so happy. He said, oh my God, I will get a best trainer. I will make the hawks fly high. Then he called for a good trainer and the trainer started to train the hawks. Then he said, after a few months, the king was so eager to see how the hawks are flying. Then he called the trainer and said see, I wanted to see your demonstration tomorrow. I wanted to see my hawks flying. The trainer was ready. He said, okay. The entire city came to see how the hawks are flying. The trainer gave instructions for the hawks to fly. Both of them started flying. The king was so happy. Oh my God, my hawks are flying. After some time, he could see only one hawk flying very high. The other hawk was sitting somewhere else. Then he was very unhappy. He said, you are the trainer who trained both the hawks. Then why one hawk is not flying and the other hawk is flying high? You make both of them fly high. The trainer also don't know why it was doing that. He trained again and again and he could not succeed. Then the king announced, I will give a big gift to person who will come and train my hawk so that both of them will fly high. Everybody came one after the other, they could not succeed. There was one farmer, a poor farmer, he came. He said, sir, I will do it. The king was very angry. He said, what can you do? I've got the big trainers and they were not able to do anything. What can you do? Sir, give me one chance. Then he said, okay, try. Then the farmer tried his best and then he called the king and said, sir, today I will demonstrate. Then the king came, but he was not having faith that the hawks will fly. And the city, everybody came. Then he instructed the hawks to fly. The farmer instructed the hawks to fly and both the hawks flew high. The king was shocked. How is this possible? So many trainers tried and my hawks were not flying. You are just a poor farmer. How you were able to do that? Then he took the king to one place and he told there was a branch in the tree and that hawk have the habit of sitting in that tree happily. And I cut that branch, it went and searched for that branch, it was not there, then it flew high. That branch was the comfort zone of the hawk. It was habituated sitting in that comfort zone and it does not want to fly beyond that. Why should I fly? I'm happy sitting here. That is what we are all doing. Come out of your comfort zone. You have lot of potential in you. You need to unleash your potential. Challenges are something which brings you out of the comfort zone, but we don't want challenges. If you get afraid of challenges, how can you come out of the comfort zone? How can you prove yourself? How can you prove your potential? My dear students, please come out of your comfort zone. Only then you can succeed in your life. And many of us have a note in our ancestors' days, and our parents have a note where they call it as an expense note. Expense note, that is, I earn this much, I spend so much on this month, that expense note will be there. They have a huge note with list of expenses for the money, even if it is lost, it can be earned. But do any one of you have a time expense note? Do any one of us have a time expense note? Right from day one of our birth, have we written somewhere how we have utilized the time which once lost cannot be brought back? We are more interested on money which can be earned, but we are giving low value to the time which cannot be earned. We do not know how much time is given to us. That is known only to the Almighty, what is the amount of time given to you. But we don't value for that time. There was one Mr. Francis He was very successful. He was very, very successful businessman. He worked under one company, and he had a very lovely family life. He married the person whom he loved, and he have a very good house, children, everything is there. He's a very fulfilled person. And he became the right hand of the CEO in short duration. The CEO was also a very smart person, and he does not have a family, and he had some regrets which he did not share with anyone. One day the CEO called Francis to his room. He asked him, Francis, you have sacrificed a lot for the company. Did you ever think you have lost some opportunities in life? You have lost some time enjoying with your family because you've sacrificed a lot. Then Francis said, sir, everybody know in my family that I'm doing this sacrifice for their sake. And this is the time for me to improve in my career. So I don't have any regrets. But still the CEO was not convinced. He said, okay, I will tell you one story. He said, the aircrafts, the aeroplanes have number of seats, a fixed number of seats, and they will have tickets for those seats. When the passenger purchases the tickets, they get money for those seats. Suppose the tickets which are not sold lies vacant and the aircraft crosses the gate, what will be the value of that seat? It would have costed 4,000 and 10,000 earlier for a business class and an economy class, but once the aircraft crosses the gate, the value of that seat becomes zero. You cannot sell those seats. Am I crossing the time? You cannot sell those seats. Similarly, the time, the unused time misused time is very similar to the seeds which are not sold. The value of that becomes zero in your life. And everybody should understand, study life balance. We used to talk about work-life balance. The students should think about the study life balance. When you are studying or when somebody is working, if you totally invest your time on either work or some other activity, the remaining will collapse. You need to have a balance on everything. So when you are studying also, you need to have balance on everything, and every minute, every second, whatever you spend should be of some use. You should see that your aircraft is filled with passengers. That is, the entire time of your life, you do something useful. You do something meaningful without wasting it. So that is what you need to understand about the value of time in your life, because once it is gone, it will not come again. And many of you don't have belief in your own self. You don't have hope. First of all, hope. There was one football match, and one boy was sitting and enjoying the match, and an old man goes and sits next to that boy. He's asking, what is the score? What is the score? He said, they are 3 and we are 0. They are 3 and we are 0. But he was happily saying that. The old man asked, are you crazy? Your team is losing and you're laughing and you're smiling. We are losing. The boy said, how can you say that? How can you say that we are losing? I have trust in my managers. I have trust in my team players. We still have time. We still have time. The referee has not blown the whistle yet. The referee has not blown the whistle yet. Remember this 3-letter word, yet. For everybody. Then finally the match was won. The boy won the match, and the old man was really puzzled and amazed to see such a beautiful boy with such an young age. He has so much of hope. In our lives, we don't wait for the whistles to get blown. We blow the whistles on our own. We finish everything. When we can't get anything, what we will do? We will come to a decision that it is over. It cannot be done. We will not try till last. That is not the attitude as students you should have. As students, try again and again and again. Change your tactics, but not the goal. You should always try to have hope. Try in different ways, and you will definitely get what you want. And mostly this happens because you have some hesitation. You don't have belief in your own efforts. There were 3 donkeys, and one person was taking the donkey to sell. When he was going, he was passing by a lake. He wanted to take bath. He had only 2 ropes. He wanted to tie the donkeys and take bath. Since he had only 2 ropes, he goes to somewhere who is nearby and asks for 1 rope. Sir, give me 1 rope. I have 3 donkeys, but I have only 2 ropes. Give me 1 more, I will tie. The man said, don't worry. I will tell you one trick. You make that 3rd donkey to stand and watch when you're tying the other 2 donkeys. And when you're going to tie the 3rd donkey, you don't have a rope. That is known only to you. You go and act as if you're tying that donkey. He does that and he goes and takes bath and comes back, and all the 3 donkeys were standing there. He was so happy. Oh my God, that man has given me a right trick. After that, he untied the 3 donkeys and asked them to come along with him. After a few steps, he could recognize that the 3rd donkey was not coming from that place. Though it was not tied, it was not coming from that place. He went there, he patted there, he did all sorts of things. The donkey was not moving. He didn't know what to do. It became evening. Then he went to that man who gave idea. Then he asked him, sir, you asked me to do this. I did it. Now the donkey is not coming. Did you untie the donkey? He was asking, sir, I didn't tie only. Then he said, you didn't tie, but that is known only to you. The donkey is thinking that it is being tied, so go and untie the donkey. He went and acted as if it is untying. He is untying the donkey, and the donkey came along with him. That is what we all do. We have some imaginary ropes around us. We are all tied with imaginary ropes. What are those imaginary ropes? Doubt, fear, hesitation. These 3 things tie us like an imaginary rope, and we don't step forward to try anything in our life. So that is one thing which you need to understand, that come out of your fears. Don't doubt yourself. Don't have hesitation. Give it a try. Give it a try. Everybody has done like that only. Nobody is an expert when they are born. You need to put in your effort. You need to try. That is the only thing that will help you to succeed in your life. And there were 3 boys, okay? The 3 boys were very naughty in the school. They wanted holiday in the school. So they had a plan. They were crossing the playground and they could see 3 goats in the playground. They brought all the 3 goats and labeled them as 1, 2, and 4. They labeled them as 1, 2, and 4 and let it into the school. The next day, the school authorities, the school teachers, everybody with the peon, everybody came inside and they could smell the goat. Then they saw 1 goat. They were all alarmed. How did the goat come inside? And they were searching. They appointed a search committee for that. And since all the teachers were busy in searching the goats, they declared it as a holiday. And they were searching the goats, and finally in the evening they could come with 3 goats. Did they feel happy with that? Are they satisfied by catching all the 3 goats? No. Why? They were searching for goat number 3. They could see only 1, 2, 4. Where is that goat number 3? That is what we are all doing. We don't focus on what we have. We are searching for what we don't have. Believe me, my dear students, every individual has been created in this world by the supreme power, the Almighty, with different abilities. Like your fingerprint, each one is unique. Each one has different abilities. Everybody can shine and come up in their life if they will be able to identify their abilities. The problem is we start comparing with others. We start comparing with others and search in us which we don't have. That is the thing which you have to come out of. Identify your strengths, identify your abilities, and work on those abilities. Work on your strengths. Be happy and grateful to what you have. That is what is life. You don't search for something which you don't have. First search for something what you have. Focus on what you have. That is what is going to give the best thing in your life. And one more thing, there is one saying called run with your mind and not with your legs. My favorite lines. There was one brigadier of army, retired brigadier, he was narrating that. He said that one line changed his life. He entered into army after completing his engineering, but there were several people who have come from National Defense Academy and they are all physically fit. They are not engineers but physically fit. Whereas our brigadier, when he was entering into army, he was not very much physically fit. First assignment was they have to run for 10 miles. And this man was so scared. I don't have practice to run for 10 miles. But he still have to do that because that was the assignment. He started running. When he started running, half the way he could go. After that, his knees started bending and he was not able to run anymore. He heard one voice from his commanding officer saying, so far you have been running with your legs, now run with your mind. That one line made him to complete those 10 miles. When we people run with our legs, the pressures put you down. We come across a lot of obstacles and barriers and we say, I can't. When you start working on your mind, yes, I can do it, no stopping barriers will come in your way and you will start saying, I can. Just an example in your home, suppose your mother is sick. She is lying on the bed. She can't even cook for herself. She's not having energy to get up and cook. So she's happy lying down drinking water and she says, I'm happy with that, I will not get up. Her son comes from hostel. He says, he didn't know about the mother's sick. He says, Amma, annam pettamma. How the mother will feel. If he asks food, the child asks food, she immediately gets up. She goes and cook and serve the son. How this happens? Physically, she is not well. She can't even get up for her own self. But she is able to do it for her son because of her mind power. Run with your mind, not with your legs. Don't depend on your physical ability. Run with your mental ability. Where there is a will, there is a way. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Both are true. It all depends upon what we think. Again, I will go back to your beliefs. If you believe you can do it, you can do it. If you believe you can't do it, nobody can help you. It is your belief. You have to think. That is what is going to make you work. Have you heard of the sculptor, famous sculptor Michelangelo? My favorite person, because he did something which everyone rejected. So I like him so much. There was a marble lying in Italy for very, very long years, before even Michelangelo was born. So everybody, a lot of huge famous sculptors came and told that I cannot do with this marble. It is full of flaw. It is broken. I cannot do anything. Then after so many years, Michelangelo came and he said, I will do a sculpture with this marble. He took that assignment. He started making a sculpture out of it. It is called as David. It is a very well-known sculpture which millions visit to see that. When he was working on that marble, a small boy came and asked him, why are you hitting that stone? It will pain that stone. A small boy, he says, why are you hitting that stone? It will pain that stone. Then Michelangelo replied, no, my dear, I'm just setting an angel free from this marble. I'm just setting out an angel free from this marble. There is a marble which has an angel. I'm trying to set it free. We are all like that marble. There may be many people saying that you are flawed, but none of us are flawed. We are flawless. We have our own potentials, but we need to have that right sculptor to come and chisel away the unwanted things in us so that our potential comes out. And we come out as a hero, what we are born for. But when somebody is chiseling away, maybe your father, your mother, your teacher, or your mentor, or anybody, definitely it will be painful. And if you feel painful and say, no, 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 I don't want to be chiseled away, you cannot let your angel come out of you. Allow your sculptor to chisel away the unwanted things. Allow your teachers to correct you. Allow your parents to correct you. That will make you come out of your best. You have your best. Let it come out. So this is what you need to wait for, a good sculptor who will be able to bring out the best in you. And many times you see, when somebody tries something, if they can't achieve, everybody will believe that it cannot be achieved. The world is not looking to who is the best. The world is looking for who is the first. Who is the first person who is going to do that? That is what is today's 21st century. It was once believed in athlete that nobody can cover 1 mile less than 4 minutes. That was the mental barrier. Everybody believed. Because if you try to cover that 1 mile less than 4 minutes, you will have a heart attack and you will die. That was what they have seen. So nobody was venturing for it. One Dr. Roger Bannister, he was a medical doctor. At that time, he was a student and he could not take that mental barrier. He wanted to break that mental barrier. So this is a story which will help you, a real story, real incidents, which will help you to understand what is the meaning of critical thinking, problem solving, creative thinking. All these 3 qualities are very important for the industry. Now they are looking for students with this sort of skills only. Complex problem solvers, critical thinkers, creative thinkers. This is what the industry is looking for. So Roger Bannister could not take the mental barrier. He said, no, I should do something. What do the athletes do when they have to train themselves? They will focus on the legs. They will focus on the thighs. They will focus on the calf muscles, and they will focus on the heels. Because they need a good leg to run. So that is what is the normal thinking of every athlete. But our Roger Bannister had a different type of thinking. He focused on the problem. You need to solve the problem. Why nobody is running with less than 4 minutes? If they run like that, they will get a heart attack and they will die. So that is the problem. That is the problem statement. So I need to find a solution for this problem statement. If I could do that, then I will be able to break that mental barrier. That is what he found. Then he started analyzing why heart attack comes. That depends upon the heart blood pumping capability. So he thought it is not only sufficient to take care of my legs, I should also increase the blood supplying capability of my heart. So he started practicing additionally to increase the blood circulating property or the blood pumping capability of his heart. That is his critical thinking. He has gone deep into the problem, identified what is the problem, and without any bias, he was able to do that. And the result, what the step he took is a creative thinking. And also while running, many people will run initially with full energy, but he will not do that. He will retain his full energy for the last stretch. These are all different out-of-box thinking abilities. So he could do that, and he could succeed by running in 3.98.4 seconds. He achieved, and he broke the mental barrier. After that, many people started breaking his own record also. How was it possible? Someone has to do that, then others will do. So if it is not possible by somebody, you feel that, no, I cannot do. Try in a different way so that every problem will have different solutions, multiple solutions. That is what is critical thinking. You need to practice yourself to think critically so that you will get out-of-box solution for all the problems, because you need to train your mind to think like that. And one more thing I would like to tell you, how a winner will think. What is the mindset of a winner? We all feel that we don't have much. When we compare to others, we start comparing what we don't have. There was one Hungarian shooter, Karoli Takacs. He was a fantastic shooter. He wanted to win gold in Olympic. He was in a Hungarian army, and unfortunately in one explode, what happened? He lost his shooting hand, right hand. He was such a good shooter. He wanted to win gold medal in Olympic, and he had won all other medals, all other state, national, all medals he had won, and waiting for the Olympics. At that moment, he lost his right hand, which is a shooting hand. Just imagine you and me, what I will do. Why me? Oh my God. Why me? Always we ask this question. Why are you only punishing me? As if all other people in the world are happy. Everybody will have problems. Everybody in the world will have problems. But what we think, we are the only people who are being punished. What he did, he stayed at home for 1 year. He practiced with his left hand, and he made his left hand equivalent to his right hand, and he won gold medal in Olympics twice. See, he worked on what he had. He worked on what he had. He did not cry. Great people don't cry. Great people try. If you don't have challenges, you will not have success. Know your challenges. You will know your success. You need to try first of all. You should not sit down saying that it's not possible. Everything is possible in this world. Where there is a will, there is a way. And you need to improve yourself every day. Michael Jackson was interviewed once. They asked him, how in this young age you are such a top dancer and singer? How is it possible? He said, I will not go to sleep without learning one new step every day. 365 days of geometric progression. Every day there should be some improvement in your life. Every day. How many of you have that urge? When you start comparing, you will stand wherever you are. Without comparing with your own self. Today I'm like this. Tomorrow what is my improvement? Tomorrow I'm like this. Day after what is my improvement? Keep going. One day you will stand somewhere else and you will turn back and see how far you have traveled. That 1% improvement per day is very essential for every human being, whether you are a student or anybody. You need to improve yourself in your thought process at least. Need not be in knowledge, at least in your thought process. Grow, not in age, mentally and in your thoughts. You need to grow mentally and in your thoughts. We celebrate birthdays. Celebrate your growth. There is no point in celebrating birthdays when you have not done anything and you have not grown. Celebrate when you grow mentally. Okay, I'm going to tell you one interesting story. I think with that I can finish my speech. I was talking about the values and principles, isn't it? So in values and principles, actually I have 3 principles which I would like to tell you here. That is, what we inhale is air. Without that, there is no life. So I would like to take those three words AIR, that is accountability, integrity and responsibility. In one incident, I will explain you, and you can just imagine how it helps you in your life. There was one cricket player. His passion, his goal, his focus was to become an Indian cricket player. He wanted his name in the Indian cricket team. That was his goal. He practiced. He was studying in a college, and the college has given him permission to come once in a while when they have exams, and remaining time he can practice, and he has gone for Ranji Trophy, and also he has the opportunity to become an Indian cricket player. So he was given that facility. One day he came to class before exam to take notes with his gloves in his hands. He came, he was writing his notes with the gloves, and his friends came and saw that event. They were all talking among themselves, what happened to him? He got out in Ranji Trophy because of that. Anything happened? They were not having the guts to come and ask him what happened. The second day also he came with the gloves and he started writing. The friends got alarmed. They got scared. What happened to you, my dear? They took him to a tea shop in the canteen, and then they asked him, you tell us what happened. What is your problem? Then he smiled and he said, you all know I was out in 2 Ranji Trophies which happened earlier. Those days I was wearing my old gloves. It was loose. And when the ball crossed my gloves, I shook my hand, and there was a sniff sound recorded in the microphone because of the movement of my loose gloves. But the wicketkeeper caught the ball and said, I'm out. Both the times it happened like that. So I decided, the problem is with the gloves. Let me go and buy a new gloves. It is a tight gloves, and that is what I'm wearing now. In another 2 days, I have semi-finals in Ranji Trophy. If I don't face that, I will not be able to go to the finals and get into the Indian cricket team. So that gloves is really very uncomfortable because it is very tight. So I want my hand to get used to that gloves so that I may sweat. It may be very, very stiff. I may not be having flexibility in my hands. All those problems should not arise on the day when I'm playing. If it happens, my concentration will be on my gloves and uncomfortable feeling of my fingers. So 2 days, 48 hours, whatever may happen, I'm not removing these gloves, and I want my hands to get used to this gloves, uncomfortable feeling. The friends were really amazed to see his dedication. He played the semi-finals, he scored 100. He played the finals in Ranji Trophy, he played and he got 100. And he got into the Indian cricket team, and he's none other than Rahul Dravid. He proved himself. He proved himself. He had accountability. He did not blame the external situations. He did not blame anybody. Though it was not his fault, he did not fight with the umpire or the wicketkeeper. He took responsibility. He had integrity. These 3 good principles he had. And he had succeeded in his life. And when he retired, there was an interview with him. They all asked him, you have scored so much of runs. Which one made you so proud of? He said, my runs did not make me feel proud of. The catches made me feel proud of, because the bowler will be bowling the ball feeling that he had to make that player out. And if I drop a catch, I am letting down my bowler. That responsibility he had, and he was so careful that I need to catch that ball. That is what is, my dear students, you need to have. Your parents have done so much for you. The institution is ready to do so much for you. Build up your responsibility. That is what is life. You need to be accountable. You need to have integrity. You need to be responsible. Follow the principles. Have some good beliefs. Have some good values. Build up your character. Come out of your untied bonds, imaginary ropes. Feel proud. Thank God. God has made us so beautiful. That is the gift God has given to us. by living this life beautifully, we have to give the gift to God. Stay blessed, all of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
For the awe-inspiring speech, we are sure that both our students and professors have charged themselves positively. Your speech has made us understand who we actually are, the importance of character building, meaning of values, gaining knowledge, and leading a principle-centered life. We believe that our students would definitely be benefited with your enlightenment on setting goals, having focus and alertness, coming out of the comfort zone, and ultimately being successful. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Professor Dr. M. Sivakumar to throw light upon our hostel facilities.
I'm happy to share the hostel facilities available in our campus with you. Vale Tech provides separate hostels for boys and girls to accommodate the students of the institute in the most comfortable and conducive manner. The hostel provides the students with a pleasant ambience, much like a home away from home.
Thank you. Now I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे